inspires. Where are they now? And today we have the awesome Kirk Berry. He is a motivational speaker and an author. So hello, Kirk.
Hello. How are you, Natasha?
I'm fabulous. I'm great. And I'm really excited to talk to you because, you're one of those people like a plethora of knowledge, just, sitting right there in their brains. And we've been in the house. We want to know things to help us climb and motivate ourselves. So first, I want to just kind of dive into your book. You have a journal called 90 Minutes for 90 Days, a way to achieve goals in your life. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So, yes, I'm excited to be on with you this afternoon. And the 90 Minutes for 90 Days Positive Results Journal, I launched it at the beginning of the new year and had no idea that we'd be in what we are currently, where people have time, or maybe some people don't have time, but they're trying to make the best use of their time. And the 90 Minutes for 90 Days Journal is simply answering that age-old question: how does one become successful? And no matter who you ask, no matter where you ask them, the answer will be extremely different for each of them. But it's all going to come down to at least someone saying some part of their message will be, you have to put in the time. And so when we leave that conversation, whatever, if we ask a teacher or if we ask a couple that's been married for a long time, if you ask someone who's at the top of their career, if you ask them whatever success looks like for you, if you ask that individual how they became successful, some part of it they're going to share where you got to put in the time. And so for me, I was like, that's a whole lot to put on someone's plate that they have to put in the time. And so where do you get started? And so for me, it's been 90 minutes for 90 days. That's where you get started. You take 90 days, you take a quarter of the year, and you commit 90 minutes towards something where you want to see positive results. So it's not just about a goal. It's about wanting to see positive results in an area that's important to you, because success looks different for everyone, and what we want to achieve is different. So the journal, simply put, is encouraging people spend 3 30-minute intervals or 2 45-minute intervals working on a specific area of life where at the end of the 90 days, not only are you guaranteed to see positive results, but if you stick with it, you can create a lifestyle change. And that's what it's really about.
That kind of sounds like that old mantra, like to be great at something, you have to spend 21,000 hours or something like that. They used to say to be like an expert. And I think this is a better, like, tangible way to say, look at my goals or my aspirations or the things I want to accomplish and really breaking it down day by day, one step at a time. I think it's a lot more achievable like that. But okay, so we have the journal. We're in the house. We got nothing but time, and we're doing a lot of self-reflection. But, sometimes we feeling like a little down or a little less motivated. What type of things do you do specifically to keep yourself motivated on a consistent basis so that you are able to achieve those things?
I think that's a really great question. What does one do? I'm excited to share about what I do specifically. Yeah. But what I've really noticed over the last 7 weeks since we've been on lockdown is some people don't have more time. And I want to be really open and honest about that. So some people are reflecting on what more they can do, and some people are overwhelmed. I spoke to someone today who is a father of 3 boys, and he has to work and do schoolwork with 3 different age groups. So does he essentially have more time? Probably not. And so some of the things that I want to share about time, I think, are things that no matter what your circumstance is, specifically, you can use some of these things. So the first one is do things that you enjoy so that there's no constraint on when you have to do them. So specifically, what happens is if you're trying to do things that require you growing a business, or it requires you being better on your job, or just if you just focus on just things that have a time constraint, you most likely won't be able to fit that in your day. But if you do things you enjoy, some people are probably tired of cooking, but some people probably never cooked before this or didn't get to cook as much. So they might enjoy it could be 7 or 8:30 at night where you're not on the phone, you're not in a Zoom meeting, and you can cook a healthier meal. But at times like this, one of the things I'm encouraging people is do something you enjoy. And a lot of times there are things that we enjoy that we didn't have time for before. So for me, I like riding my bike. And so I enjoy that. So I can get a ride in as early as 7 in the morning, or now because it's not getting dark until late, I can ride at 5:30 at night till 7 p.m. when it gets dark. And I don't have to worry about trying to fit it in during business hours because it's something that I enjoy. And so that's the first thing that I'll share, that, give you a little chance to ask another question, or maybe you could share with everyone what you enjoy that you could find time to do.
Oh, well, I'm a big outdoors person. So, like you said, riding bikes. If I had a bike, I would ride it. But so I will jog every day. I'm taking multiple walks a day. I take a morning walk and I take an evening walk. And I just love it. It just makes me a lot happier. So those are the things that if I don't do those every day during this pandemic, I start to feel like, oh, I'm starting to feel weird. You need to go take a walk somewhere. So I totally agree with you on the exercise and really getting those endorphins flowing. I haven't really indulged in Netflix too much because I'm completely tired of it. I feel like I've watched every single movie on there, so I've navigated more to books at this point. So books and walking, like that's my thing.
Got it. And someone may be listening or watching right now, and they're like, that's really simple. Do something that you enjoy. But if I talk about just achieving goals, if that was the first thing I shared, that's overwhelming at a time where you're completely doing the opposite of what you used to do. So if you used to drive to work, if you used to be in the office, if you're not used to seeing your kids to a certain time of the day, if you have a significant other and you're not used to spending 24 hours a day for 7 weeks with them, if I push on you to achieve something that you've never started working on, that's a little overwhelming. So the first thing I say is do the things that you enjoy, because it can give you a sense of like, all right, I'm ready to tackle whatever it is I want to achieve, or I'm ready to consider that. So I think reading books is great. As I shared, cooking. Some people love baking. Some people don't cook, but they love just baking. And, then you got to give all the sweets away so that you don't eat them all in the house. But right now, for me, it's really doing things that I enjoy. I enjoy working on my business, like to the wee hours of the night, promoting whatever I have that's coming up. And so it's worked out well with the 90 Minutes for 90 Days journal. And just so many people are working out. That's what you see behind me, one of my T-shirts. And so people have been supporting my small business, and I appreciate it. But I encourage people when I talk to them, just start with doing the things you enjoy. And once you do that, you'll be in the right mind and in the right spirit to achieve additional work. But right now, if you're working and trying to start something that requires more work, it can become overwhelming. So, start with something that you enjoy.
I feel like you hit the nail on the head because that's kind of what I did. So when we started in this pandemic, the first 2 weeks, I was not motivated. I was not motivated at all. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to work out. I'm just going to figure it out. And doing those things I enjoyed helped me figure out where I wanted to go. I kind of took the pressure off and figured it out instead of just going crazy trying to look, I need to do this. I just let it naturally come through the things I like doing. And I don't know, I felt like I was a genius, but obviously you've already thought of that. So I can't take ownership for that.
You are a genius. And that's what the 90 Minutes for 90 Days journal is about. Before the pandemic happened, people would ask me, Kirk, how do you do so much? How are you able to achieve so much? Where do you find the time? And 90 minutes truly isn't a lot. It's if you break it down into 30-minute intervals. And so a lot of times when people see or hear about the journal, they think I'm talking about losing weight or getting fit. And what I'm talking about is positive results in any area of life where you want to see a change. And that really allows people to work on something that's more than just a business, that's more than just physical fitness. It can be, I always tell parents at the beginning of school year, and now it truly applies, is that we need to spend at least 90 minutes working with our children when we first get home from work, or after we've decompressed as parents. But we have to, if we spend 90 minutes with our children doing their schoolwork, or at least talking about and discussing it, what happens over a 90-day period is that you'll notice that your kids will now be not just in a routine, but it will be a lifestyle that they want to talk about what they've learned or what they're having trouble with. And now that we're doing homeschooling every day, most likely for many parents, some parents just recently started. I'm already past 45 days with my daughter. I'm going to be better suited for homeschooling 90 days from now because I'm putting in the time. I'm putting in my 90 minutes a day, but it's much more than 90 minutes. My daughter probably, if you include, if you remove her breaks and her lunch break, she probably has about 4 hours worth of schoolwork between watching videos and journaling, and she's in second grade. Well, what happens is I'll be better suited to do homeschooling 3 months from now because I put in the time every day. I didn't realize I wanted that to be a positive result of my life. And I definitely don't want it to be a lifestyle change. She needs to go back to school after this is over. But that's one of those things that because I've put in the time, I'm going to see a positive result in how I'm able to help her with her schoolwork and work during my work day as well.
Exactly. It gives people, well, especially the social distance or the distance learning, gives people a chance to see what teachers deal with every day, and makes you more independent in your child's education. So you could probably have a bigger hand on influencing them and knowing how do I talk to my child in a way that's motivating them to actually learn, especially in a subject that's not preferred. So I like hearing other parents talk about it because I know it's not easy. I know it's very difficult, and it's a huge change that people are not used to. And I like what you talked about, putting the 90 days in and you'll be more equipped after that 90 days. But what if you have like an aspiration or a goal that is completely outside of the blueprint of the matrix that we live in? It's non-traditional. Most people will probably tell you not to do it, but you have it in your heart to do it, and you're passionate about it. But the only thing that's standing and keeping you from doing it is fear. What would you say to someone who has this big fear component that's stopping them from achieving one of these goals that they would love to achieve?
Other than put in 90 minutes for 90 days?
Okay, we can put the 90 minutes to 90 days for sure. But okay, what if you wanted to be, let's say, like a musician, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go for it. So I'm seeing what you're saying. Put in the 90 days. I'm going to be less scared after the 90 days ends.
And so you bring up a good point. If we're terrified of doing something, and sometimes it's not always just like an instrument or business. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people may be afraid of heights and never cross a bridge, right? And so people who like getting out in nature and want to accomplish something, maybe each day you just get a little further and further going up one side of the bridge, right? So my whole point in bringing in that bridge scenario is specifically that if we have a fear, it's trying a little bit more each and every time. I learned once before that a yard is hard, but an inch is a cinch. And so if we try things an inch at a time, what we notice is that, wow, I'm over this bridge and didn't even realize it, right? Like I didn't get as fearful as I normally do because I had already gone to the halfway point, 20 times before I got to where I am today. And I just kept going. And so if we have individuals who are watching, if they're out there, if there's something that you want to add to your life, if there's something different you want to do outside of just 90 minutes for 90 days, try that inch, just a little bit at a time. And I'm a big believer in, do it. A lot of times they say you speak things into existence, and you do speak them into existence. But sometimes I just do it because in doing it, I get to the end result. If I talk about it but never do it, people just wonder like, hey, I know you mentioned that you were going to work on this, but how come you never started practicing that instrument? So now's the time where we're in our homes, we're doing social distancing, and you can you can play that instrument loud and in the wrong keys as much as you want. You don't have to tell anybody what it's taking you to get there, but you just really need to start. And the short of my answer is that fear, we all know what the acronym stands for, the false evidence appearing real. We have to, instead of allowing that false evidence to appear real, we need to commit time so we can build up our confidence, but make that fear come down. That's the short of it.
Right. Like build that confidence up. And I think you covered everything, you know, because the hardest thing is starting. The hardest thing is starting. And then once you start, you're like, okay, I'm going to take a step, and then I'm going to take 2 steps. And then next thing you know, I'm walking. And I think that's great advice for overcoming a fear, because I swear this is a big self-reflective time for everyone. We have nothing but time, and we're hearing our thoughts. We're hearing all the thoughts that we have and all the things that we want to achieve and all the things that we don't like in our lives and the things that we want to change. So I think that these tactics with taking the time to figure out what you like, but doing that through things that bring you joy. So everything is not so disciplined and like a chore, but it's actually something that brings you joy. You're moving through it and just kind of being gentle and take it step by step. So, wow, I really need to get me a journal.
That will be the support will be greatly appreciated. I can get you one. Here's one of the things I'll share about fear. I struggled. If anyone hears me talk to young people, I tell them how I struggle with synonyms, antonyms, just reading, period, as a child, right? And I even say now as an adult, my mom says stop saying it, but I tell people, like, I don't read well. Like, reading means that you comprehend. So you see a stop sign and it means stop. But when you start reading directions and you start reading like grants and things like that, like I have to do all the time, sometimes I read stuff and I'm like, I have no idea what that just said. And so my comprehension isn't at the level that most people's are. And so the reason why I'm taking the time to share that is I'm a 2-time author now. I don't say that to brag, but I was fearful going in the journey of writing, knowing you don't even like read the best. You don't comprehend the best. You can recognize words. And so a lot of people say, I didn't even know you were writing a second book. Like I truly, my wife makes fun of me all the time. She was like, you have this cloud of ideas and you just pull them down and say you're going to do something and you don't consider what the time is going to take, or at least it appears that way. But when I want to put my mind to something, I accomplish it. And so, but my first book, I was fearful about, is this going to be a good quality product? Just knowing who I am. And I think the book did well, but I didn't allow that fear to stop me. So I share that briefly with everyone because there's always things that we're not good at or that we don't even know if we do well. It shouldn't stop us from putting in the time to achieve whatever we want to achieve. And a lot of people who write way better than I do, who probably have better stories that they want to put into a book, the piece that they're missing is that inch is a cinch, like doing it one day at a time and getting over whatever fears they may have. And so that's just one of my fears that I had in my process of writing my first book. And I think someone needs to hear that today. Don't allow the fear to stop you, but speak to it. Like be able to say what it is. Like, I know I'm not good at this, but I need to accomplish this anyway.
Wow, that was so brave of you to share and necessary, that even though you lack certain confidence in writing, you still wrote that book. You still wrote that book. And I think the thing that separates things from getting finished is how much heart you have. I always felt like that when I ran track. It's like sometimes we can run the same speed, but the person most likely to win the race is the person with the most heart. The most heart, the person that knows it's hurting right now, but I'm going to keep going. We're going to keep going. And that was very beautiful for you to share that, how you're overcoming your fears. But let's switch gears for a little bit. We have a couple of minutes left. And what fun stuff are you doing? Like, are you watching Netflix? Are you reading books that you haven't read before? What new things are you exploring?
Got it. So that's a great question. And I told them in preparation for this, we actually don't have any TVs in our house.
What?
So we don't have any TVs in our house. I got married at the end of last year. And one of the things, thank you. one of the things that my wife put on the registry is for us to get a projector so we can project movies or shows from the laptop. But we have to set it up every time, right? So, but when you talk about fun things, we've had movie date nights a couple times throughout the week. We pick different series of whatever we want to watch. So we recently just watched the X-Men series. So we might watch like Friday and Saturday and maybe one night during the week. But I don't like watching TV, but I will enjoy a movie. So that's part of one of the things that I have in my notes for is do things you enjoy, and you don't have to just work on self-reflection and trying to get better during this time. But I enjoy watching movies, and you can do that at 9 o'clock at night, be in bed by 11, and still get up the next day for work at 8 o'clock. So that's been really fun for me, the date nights in the movie. Also, what has been fun is making sure that I ride my bike on a regular basis. Making sure I ride my bike on a regular basis has been really fun. And I've been doing at least try to do 15 miles a day.
Woo.
And so the last couple days, I've been able to get up to 30 miles. And so riding my bike is really fun. I do it by myself. I just get out there. And one of the notes that I wrote down is we have to find the time that was used by something else. Find that time and be able to do different things. So one of the ways I'm able to ride my bike for that long is because before I had an hour commute to work and dropping my daughter off at school, and it was about a 45-50 minute commute back. So that's time that I now have back to myself that I found to be able to do fun things like that. And
are you saying you're reclaiming your time?
Say that again.
I said, are you saying you're reclaiming your time?
I definitely am in areas and ways that you definitely can. Definitely. It's been fun to do. So, because I don't normally work out. Like if I'm not riding my bike, I don't normally work out. I just try to eat healthy. So the bike riding has been really fun for me, and watching movies has been fun. I have been doing a little bit of reading, but I don't read as much as I should. Remember, I don't read well. So, I've enjoyed the Zoom calls and the family celebrations and those things. Those have been fun as well.
Yes, this pandemic is bringing us back, and I actually enjoyed everything. I enjoyed this so much. I enjoyed what you told me, all the advice, and the fun things that you're doing. It's so refreshing to know that you don't have to beat yourself over the head to achieve a goal. You can do it with joy. So I want to thank you so much for joining us today to Phillies Inspires. Where are they now? I want to let you guys know next week we have Wayne Kimmel next Wednesday, but this time at 4 p.m. So make sure you tune in next week at 4 p.m. Kirk, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Anybody who's interested in the journal can go directly to my website, 90minutesfor90days.com, or get it at Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. And I appreciate this opportunity. And if anybody wants to reach out on social media, please follow me.
Absolutely. And I will be getting one of those journals and figuring out something that I want to achieve in the next 90 days. And I'm going to let you know how it goes.
Please do. That's what the instructions are at the back of the book. We want everybody to share what their positive results are. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. Thank you for joining us for this latest edition of Phillies Inspires. Where are they now? All right. I'll see you guys next week.
Take care.
Take care.